Tech Talk. I am your host, Michael Amagan, and with us this week, we have Vicquell as our guest and co-host.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, we took a little bit of a break last week, just due to some whole life stuff, but we're back this week. We're missing one person who ended up having to go on a quick trip overseas. Kind of jealous, just a little bit. Oh, okay. And apparently we've got someone here who's just
I got a
you,
fan.
You've got a fan. But yeah, so we had some topics that we kind of wanted to talk on, and I think the first one that I have a feeling you really want to talk on, Vicky, is WWDC.
Yes.
Well, the 2018 version of WWDC, especially since there's supposedly some interesting things that's supposed to be coming out of it this year.
Yes. Well, yeah, there's supposed to be, well, the rumors I have it that they're going to show air power, which may eventually be like maybe like a $200 as one something going to $200 wireless charging mat for iPhone 8 and 10, Apple Watch Series 3, and the AirPods, but you're going to have to purchase the wireless charging kit or the wireless charging case separately. Then there's also rumors about a new MacBook Air, simply because the screen on the new one, on the current ones, are basically trash compared to the other ones, essentially, because the other ones have Retina display and all that good stuff. So yeah, there may be a revamp for them. They're going to change the screen, improve the screen. They're not going to be like the current Retina display one on the Pros and the regular MacBook, but they're going to improve it like a tad bit. I think they're supposed to decrease the price. That may be one as well. And then they also have new iPads, which may replace the iPad that they released last year, which was just called iPad. It was supposed to be like a relatively affordable one for persons to purchase an iPad, and I think it was like $3 something. But honestly and truly, the specs on that weren't as great as the one that they had on the iPad Air 2, in which that replaced on the website. I still feel as though it was kind of like recycled iPads. And it was like recycled parts or like spare parts of like old iPads. And like, you know what, we're gonna make something out of this, we're gonna reduce the price. Like, come on, like why all of a sudden you would drop the iPad price to like barely like $300, like all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, don't they have other things that people use their iPads for, like schools and...
Yes, and those ones, oh, yes. And at the same time, the iPad Pro would essentially be the better buy, unless they released that iPad last year to push persons to purchase the Pro. That would make sense.
It would.
Because you don't have the Pro, you have like this kind of knockoff iPad Air 2, and you have the iPad Mini. So like I could see where that would like push people to purchase the iPad Pro. It was all a money scheme again. Now that I think about it, for real.
Have you really like not seen Apple being the one to do this kind of stuff though?
Yeah, but it just clicked, you know, they did it with the iPad last year. Because the iPad Air 2 was relatively like top of the line. Well, not the top of the line. It's like middle line somewhat. So it wouldn't push you to purchase the Pro because you still have like the whole performance where it was really good performance wise. The screen had the anti-glare screen covering over it on the glass. So like, and then the storage was okay. Because they started at 16, but they should have started at higher. And then with the new iPad that they replaced it with, those ones started off with 32 gigs instead of 16. And it all makes sense. So like that's why they removed it, because it wasn't going to push persons to purchase the Pro, and they want you to purchase the Pro because the Pro costs more money.
Exactly. It's a very similar concept to what they did with the iPhones.
Yes, especially the 10. And when you purchase the Pro,
call it the X.
I don't know. I don't understand it. And they should have learned from the whole macOS X thing. Because like most people call it macOS X instead of macOS 10. I honestly was one of the persons that called it macOS X until I realized that it was actually for 10. I was like, oh, it makes sense.
I think people are just gonna be people when it comes to that, though. Like,
You mean like the whole GIF and GIF thing?
you saw you. Oh, okay, yeah, no, you actually, yeah, you did post that inside our little group.
Yes.
With,
So the person who made it came out and said that it is. What did he said it was?
It
GIF,
like,
not GIF.
yeah, he said it before, but then he wanted some event, and so he let his invention speak for himself. And so
Yes.
up on the screen it says, "It's not GIF. It's not GIF.
It's GIF.
No, wait, what was it? It's GIF, not GIF. I think it was.
Yes.
Wow, that's actually kind of. I'm surprised how wrong I had that originally. But I mean, there's a lot of other stuff. Say this is totally more territory. We've had this argument on this show before a number of times.
And Chris always felt as though it was. What did he say? Felt it was GIF. I think.
Yeah, I think he said GIF.
And I said it was GIF.
Yeah.
So I call it GIF.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing thing for a while now. But I mean, so we've got new iPads, we've got, well, possibly recycled versions of iPads.
Well,
new versions of
newer ones. I think the ones last year were recycled ones, in my opinion. I don't know, like something just wasn't right last year when they came out and dropped the price and they released this iPad, and it kind of had the specs were okay, but like it was a jump down from the iPad Air 2. And the only way you get like a jump down is if you're using recycled parts, because I'm pretty sure they would manufacture old parts.
I mean, you never know. Wasn't there some rumors saying like the new iPads were gonna get the Mac 10? Sorry, not the Mac 10, the iPhone 10 kind of screen.
And chip? Oh, screen? There were rumors about it, but I don't know, because people want to push Face ID onto the iPads, and I don't feel like the iPad need it, in my opinion. But persons would like to push it, and they wanted to have the same look as the iPhone 10 with the notch. And then like others were shooting out concepts where it's just going to be the iPad. It wouldn't have the notch, but it would have like a thinner bezel all around, no home button, stuff like that. Unless they embed Face ID in the little small notch, the little small bezel at the top. Because they couldn't do it with the 10 because the bezels were really skinny at the top. But with the iPad, you kind of have to have some bezels because you got to hold it and you got to touch the screen, because your fingers always got to touch the screen because it's really big.
Yep.
And you're picking it up and stuff like that. So that could be a push that they're doing. And then at the same time, Apple were holding like this little event at a school. I think it's happening sometime. I think it's happening on the 27th next week, if I'm correctly. But they're holding an event at a school. It's not going to be WWDC, but it's just like a March event at the school. So that's where they probably may reveal the new iPads, and it has to be a budget model because they're pushing it towards students. So persons are thinking that that's where they're going to show the new iPad and the new MacBook Air, the updated one, because theirs are still there because they're like one of the most affordable MacBooks that they have, and they still have USB-B. Yeah, USB-B.
And a lot of schools are using those as the school computer to give kids when they're trying to go into the more evolved kind of schooling type of thing.
Yeah, so that's why they're still there and they can't really get rid of them. So they're going to push, they may push that and drop the price a little bit to say, it's more affordable than the one that we had last year. Same thing with the iPad, they may drop the price like a little notch. It's probably going to be like something $99. Actually, it's going to be probably like something at $99.99. But they never raise it up 1 cent higher, it's always going to be like a $.99 type of thing going on.
Okay, but like I said, we have a few other things happening from what I understand. iOS 12 is probably going to be announced. And,
Yes, at WWDC. Can't wait.
So, what do you think is actually going to be inside that?
Well, the obvious thing, new emojis, because new emojis is a thing every year now. But I know a lot of rumors were saying that they were going to fine-tune the iOS that they have now. They weren't going to do any major updates in regards to UI, but they were going to fix and adjust all the all what they have inside the new iOS 11 now. So they're going to do like little fine tweaks to make sure everything is just right and just works and it's perfect essentially. And then next year they're going to do like a whole different UI, focus on the UI and stuff like that. I think iOS 12 may be optimized for the iPhone 10 outline layout. Yeah, outline layout something. Yeah, so I think it may be optimized for that.
Well, weren't they saying something along the lines of like better Siri integration with iOS? Like, I don't really know how you're gonna do that, but
Well, I feel like they need like that. I'm pretty sure they have a team for Siri. Their Siri team needs to step it up, essentially.
We've been saying that for a while now.
It's just like people get off on it. On Twitter, like there was this, I think he's actually a developer for one of the apps. He asked you to turn on the flashlight because with Google Assistant and with Bixby you could ask it to turn on the flashlight and Bixby would automatically turn it on. I think Google Assistant gives you like the little swipe button or the swipe toggle, or do it automatically turn it on for you?
I don't know, let's see. Turn on the flashlight.
Oh, automatically do it, yeah. So like it automatically do it, but for us, if we ask Siri, she'd be like, "Oh, I can't really." She'd be like, "Oh, sorry, at the moment I can't do that right now." So like, yeah, the developer was getting off, and I was like, "Siri, why are you so dumb?" I'm just there like.
Wow.
So yeah, people get off on Siri for being so dumb. But I really feel like she could just like a smidget step it up. Like she don't have to go all the way like how Google Assistant is like, I don't know, it's like crazy smart, essentially. But like she just like updated herself just a smidget.
Well, I know they were also saying, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that there was going to be some, like they were talking about enhancing Do Not Disturb. I'm not sure what all you're going to do with that other than what Android's already done. Some improved parental controls, which again, I mean, iPhones had a pretty good set so far, so that's still a little confusing for me. That they're going to try for augmented reality and some new designs for the home screen Photos app and multitasking impressions or I think it was the gestures, I'm not sure.
Okay, so you said with the Do Not Disturb, they could I don't really use the mode, but I think I've used it before and I still ended up receiving certain notifications. But they could enhance it, whereas they could combine it with, they have a good Do Not Disturb driving setting. So they could combine that and that could maybe, turn up your mic, dude?
I think he's talking about me.
Yeah, they could enhance it and basically improve it by combining it with that and figure out what they're going to do. I've never actually used the Do Not Disturb while driving either. But I think from what I've seen online, it essentially, like once you turn it on, it has like, you could set up like automated reply for it to send persons when you're driving, stuff like that. With the augmented reality, people were kind of they were kind of overthinking. Well, they were basically like analyzing the promotional flyer that they introduced for WWDC, where it was like a lot of animations, and then like the icons were kind of like 3D, so people were feeling like, that's going to focus on. Yeah, he's like, you're going to may focus on augmented reality because the icons are 3D. The icons had like a certain look that they didn't have now because iOS 11 is kind of flattish, and then with those icons, it was more like it had like drop shadows and stuff like that. Yeah, so persons were saying that that's what they're going to work on. Augmented reality for my phone, I have it and I don't use it. I won't even lie.
I'm not gonna lie, augmented reality has been a thing on smartphones for a while now. Everything from looking up where like people, as you're moving past like say a store and seeing where all places people have taken pictures on Instagram or sent tweets out and stuff like that. That's been around for years. Like I think when it first started out was like 2014 or 15. It's a gimmick kind of thing for right now. Like there's not enough content in my opinion for it to really be viable on smartphones or even in the like overall. Like I think that's why they're trying to go for a mixture of virtual reality and AR to try and make that mixed reality thing to happen. So I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what they do.
What they do?
Yeah.
I liked the thing that they did with AR that I really enjoyed and felt like it was way more suited for was them having it into the classroom with kids. So like if they want to show, like if you're in a science class and we show them a solar system, you can have like an iPad and you could like roll around the screen and it could be essentially like augmented reality. Solar system, same thing with the skeletal system and stuff like that. Now those I thought were pretty neat for in regards to using augmented reality, but for me personally, I don't use it. I know some persons may use it for when they shop for furniture and stuff like that, because that's like one of the next thing that's kind of teased or trailered further to really push. Persons could use it when they're shopping for furniture for their apartment, their home, etc. But I don't really have a need for it, so I don't use it.
Fair enough.
We'll see where it goes in the future. I'm waiting. Oh, yeah, I love Pokemon Go.
Well, I mean, there was that as well, but at the same time, Pokemon Go, no one really uses the AR version of Pokemon Go.
You're right about that. I don't use that. I used it when I first downloaded it, when it first came out. I used it then. And I was like, you know what? I don't really feel it. So I'd have to like move the screen around to figure out where the Pokemon was. So like, I'm just going to turn this off, save my battery life. It's going to be right there in front of me.
Exactly, because the thing uses a battery life regardless, because it's already using up your data. Then it's using up your GPS, and then you're going to allow it to use the camera.
Yep. And then you got to have that screen brightness up. Then persons have their song on. So you have to turn the song off for it to save battery.
Some good photos, but I mean, unless you're catching like a Pokemon on the toilet or just doing some random stuff, then it's kind of. But getting back on the topic, then Mac OS 10.14, I think it was supposed to be also being talked about.
Yeah, so they're going to be speaking about Mac OS 10.14, tvOS, and watchOS. I feel like none of them really get touched as hard as iOS do. So I feel like macOS probably may just have, macOS may just have like a semi-update. Like how last year we had, actually no, year before last, we had macOS Sierra. Last year we had macOS High Sierra. And like they did like this whole grand entrance, like you went to the toppest, like the highest peaks of the mountains, etc., etc. I expected like a grand name, and they come and it's like, this macOS is going to be macOS High Sierra. And I'm just like, I expected more. But this year, they probably just like gonna add like a little extra adjustments. I don't know if they're gonna make any massive changes or if they're going to do the same thing that they're going to do with, well, rumored to do the same thing as what they're going to do with iOS 12, where just fine tweak it. But yeah, that's just about what I know. But WatchOS,
Sierra Max,
and I also want to see what they name it as well.
Yeah, see, they went from cats to mountains, and now they're running out of mountains that they like, at least. Eventually, they're gonna be doing Everest, because I think that's one that they haven't done yet. But they're probably gonna leave that for like the last one.
Or it might be like a grand update, you know, because Everest is I could see it.
It's also the one where a lot of people have died, so you know.
Yeah, I want to see what they name macOS this year. I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do, because last year didn't really have no big update, in my opinion.
In California. Oh, I thought it was just mountains that they like. Sierra Mountains and Yosemite.
No. I didn't know that.
Let me take a look at that.
You shall. And then WatchOS. I never really know what they're going to do with WatchOS, so I'm usually surprised when they release it. A lot of like the leak and rumors usually comes for like iOS.
Yeah. So, cryptocurrencies. It's been something that's been on and off with the news, right? Like, and it's something that we've kind of talked about. I did an interview with a guy who started up his own cryptocurrency company, essentially. Just, what was that? Episode 22.5? I think it was either 22.5 or 23.5. So it's like, we can... 2 weeks and a half ago? Somewhere up in there. But we're finding cryptocurrency becoming more and more popular terms inside of our daily lives. And of course, people are then taking that and going with blockchain and stuff like that. But at the same token, okay, no pun intended. That actually just hit me. Sorry, I don't know why that was so funny to me. There have been people that have been putting, like, instead of paying off for subscriptions to websites, for example, they will have you put an extension on your browser or an advertisement that mines cryptocurrency using your computer. There was, I think it was one place in somewhere where I think it was KFC, where like it was Burger King that was building its own cryptocurrency. I think it was in Russia or Germany, one of the two. And that you use that cryptocurrency to pay for your meals at this Burger King. So it's kind of like it's starting to really get a little confusing as to exactly how they want this thing to be in the real world. And then, of course, just yesterday or the day before, the CEO of Twitter says that Bitcoin is going to be the only currency in the world in 2023, I think it was.
Nice. They're really pushing this.
They are. And it's the fact that there are websites that... Okay, imagine this. You go to a website to buy something. And instead of using money, they say, hey, do you want to mine some of our cryptocurrency for us? And then, you pay it like that. That is kind of weird. Like, when you think of it like that, sure, you can maybe like trade off with your whatever currency it is, but instead of like actually spending it, you're mining it.
Now, if I could do that for the Apple Store,
of course you would.
I would. I'd sit on my computer all day.
Honestly, where we live, mining like Bitcoin is not worth it. And I think, I don't know how much the others use energy wise, but like you're gonna end up in the negative if you try doing that. So I don't really know how viable that is. And so ads and stuff like that, they have to be very careful who they give these ads to, because it could put these people like way in the negative, especially if they're the type of people that just like to leave tabs open.
Well, it's gonna be like a new form of credit card debt, essentially.
Pretty much. Except it's gonna hit your bills. So, but you have to pay if you want to keep your electricity running. That's not gonna be fun at all. Like at all.
we're probably if that ever happened, we're probably going to be like one of the last set of people to get it, because you see how the whole paying with credit card and debit card situation is over here. So that's there. So if cryptocurrency ever becomes the sole currency, we're going to be screwed.
Pretty much. And you have to keep in mind, Vicky, like it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we adopt here. It could just be adopted onto the sites that we use.
Yeah, so we'd be screwed from there because we won't be able to purchase things, won't be able to. So then that would then question how wholesale places purchase their products from other companies.
And then let's say one of your favorite websites that you like to go to, instead of ads being popped up and they saying, oh well, you can just pay us some money like a subscription, just mine some stuff for us a little bit. Like there was legit an ad out on iPhone, and it was a calendar app, and it went through Apple's like verification process for apps and everything like that, got accepted, and within like the first day or two it generated like $2,000 worth of cryptocurrency from people who decided, hey, I'm not going to pay for the subscription, I'm just going to let it mine my iPhone to pay for the subscription. Of course, Apple then took it down, saying like, oh, we don't allow apps to tinker around or possibly degrade our iPhones in the future, like, because then it runs the phone hot and so on and so forth, and consistently uses the processor, and so it's going to make the iPhone reach the end of life faster.
Yeah, but people already have issues with the whole battery situation.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
So, so it's, I see where people want it to be, and I see how it's going, and then I see people headbutting over it, and it's kind of like, what exactly is going to be going on? And it's confusing, because especially if you want to stay like in the know of this, there are so many different directions that these are going in.
I agree. Oh, I was agreeing with the guy in the chat. but yeah, and it's, but yeah, like I see where they're going to push it, but it's just like, do we really need to push it? Like, can't it just be like another option for persons who are interested in using it and just keeping the standard currency that we have now? And you had those persons who probably were there during the whole Bitcoin hype, and it's like, see, I told you this was going to happen, etc., etc.
Honestly, cryptocurrency, I don't know if it's gonna die or not. Like that's the honest thing right now. It has been in a bubble, but we've seen it go up, we've seen it go way down, and then come right back up.
Back up.
So it's riding some kind of wave. I don't know what the bubble is or who's blowing the bubble.
It's kind of like a gamble in a sense. Like you have a chance where it's going to go up, then you have a chance it's going to go down, you lose your money, then you have another chance where it's also going to go up again. Probably why people are interested in it, because it gives them like that adrenaline rush, like gambling, but not 100% gambling. Like, they don't have to physically go inside the stores, spin the machines, play numbers, stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a show from one of these I'm trying to look for it right now, but there was an episode, I think it was from John Oliver, where he was discussing cryptocurrency. Yeah, John Oliver, that was 1 week ago. Cryptocurrencies last week tonight with John Oliver. And he pretty much said that one of the people, or at least the made up people, possibly real person inside of his office, is that why does cryptocurrency actually have value? And the guy said, why does actual currency have any value? It's because we make it have value. And so that kind of is the same thing with this. So if we decide, okay, this has X amount of value, then that's the value it has, and it goes up to that amount. Because we're playing around and using it like a stock instead, then we're letting the stock options decide what it is. And I mean, that's here and there, but all currencies start out, all currencies have this wave that either goes up, goes down, or just pops. And I think that's where we really need to see what's happening, because I mean, look at the euro. People were saying that was gonna flop, and yet here we are still years later and it's still around.
Maybe cryptocurrency may become a thing, but I'm hoping not by 2023. So the guy from Twitter said 2023.
I think that's what he said.
Yeah, I'm hoping not by then, because that's too soon for us to just pick up and jump onto another currency.
Yeah, he said Bitcoin will be the world's single currency in 10 years. Single currency at that. Okay, so Matrix, this is what I think he was referring to. Yes, the government decides it has a value, but different people, that's the key word, people actually decide, okay, well, this has X amount of value. So depending on what's happening inside one country, the value of that currency can either go up or down. That's essentially what happens with the inflation or deflation of a dollar. It's depending on what's happening within that country, which is the reason why for the Bahamas, for example, we're so worried about the dollar going down comparatively to other countries, especially since right now most of the Caribbean is under $1, if I remember correctly. Well, the US dollar, while we're on par with the US dollar.
US dollar. Well, we're still there. It didn't go down. Looks like a little smidget. Are we still?
To be quite honest, I think we're actually a little bit above. But of course, the banks won't ever admit to that.
Yeah, I always feel like the bank's scheming.
Actually, it seems right now we are exactly on par with it. I know it's gone up and down the years. Yeah, between 2016 and 2017, there were ups and downs within it by a few cents.
I always knew the banks were ripping us off. I always knew it.
But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see exactly what these things happen. And I do agree, it does consume too much energy to really be viable in a lot of countries. But then you've got countries that like have so much oil and stuff like that, or that generate their own electricity, that they don't have to worry about that, and like the country just gives the energy because it's all free from solar, water, or wind, or they're using all three or some of it to generate their own thing. And then if they want to go really biofuel kind of stuff, then they'll be using corn oil and stuff like that for a lot of other stuff. So I don't know, it depends on the place that it's happening, in my opinion. Because if the governments will do what they're supposed to be doing and making each country self-sufficient, then if we're generating enough energy where we have a huge surplus, I don't see the reason why prices have to be all that high.
Oh, what's this name? Global ones. Global. Oh, I was reading the chat to see what he said. Because I know you were speaking kind of to him. He was like global warming on steroids.
I mean, yeah, I see where his point with it, because like they are using like the mining computers and stuff like that. They're using them as heaters inside people's homes. Legit. Like, especially since a lot of the US is going through like blizzards and like, what was it, Lauderdale or somewhere in Florida, pretty much. Like it was hailing in Florida like this past week.
I know the snow inside Pennsylvania was thick. Like that was like inches of snow. Oh man.
So I mean, it kind of makes sense, instead of using the money to spend on a heater,
use a computer. Oh
hey,
man, you know it would suck?
What's that?
If the computer that they're mining would just like crash and everything's gone.
Ooh, that would suck, because then all the mining that they're doing is being stored on that computer.
Oh, I'd be so devastated.
Okay, I see what you mean, Matrix. If you're talking about in the 10 years when it goes supposedly to the one single currency, yeah. If we don't have our own self-sustainable amount of electricity, it's not going to be sustainable as a currency unless we've already mined all of it. And then we're just trading it off as actual currency. That's the only thing that really makes sense to me. Natalie, what you missed so far is that we were talking earlier about WWDC and what we were expecting from it, as well as cryptocurrencies in our daily life, which is actually our current topic right now. So, a small percentage of people who use Bitcoin use a disproportionate amount of electricity. I mean, there's also the fact that not much Bitcoin is actually being used, period. And people are probably going to be holding onto the Bitcoin right now, especially since it dropped from, Lord, what was that? About almost $20,000 per Bitcoin to, how much is a Bitcoin now?
I'm not sure. Let me Google. How much is a Bitcoin today? It is currently one Bitcoin is $8,691.28 Bahamian dollars.
And apparently for US it's $8,750, but it's dropped $87.51 in the past day. So, and if we go by month, it's dropped.
They show like a little chart here where it spiked earlier this year. I'm assuming that's when like the whole Bitcoin crave happened, and then like you can see where it dropped.
So I don't know if you can see that,
but you Googled on your phone. Oh,
well, I have a cryptocurrency trading app on my phone.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So I mean, both that Ethereum have dropped as well. I think the only one that's actually doing kind of pretty good is Bitcoin Cash, which is a fork from it. And yeah, they're the only one that's actually gone up within the past year. So that's kind of interesting. But so I don't know if Bitcoin will become the main thing or Bitcoin Cash will. I don't know if any of them will happen or if it'll be a fork of one of the actual ones because one's gone better and people prefer this other version of it. So I don't know. That's a whole, like Matrix is saying, it's yeah. Cryptocurrencies fork more often than Baptist churches.
Oh man.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, probably not as often as Baptist churches, but it's close. But yeah. So on to our last topic, Fortnite, the wildly popular game that started off in development years ago, as a save the world kind of story game. Then Player Unknown Battlegrounds came out, or PUBG, and was using the exact same engine that, well, it's just the Unreal Engine, and made their game based on it. Cool. The maker of that same game engine decides, hey, we're actually going to make a game. And, well, that we're going to add on to our game something that's very similar to it. And it's going to be a battle royale as well. And it's decimated their numbers within a very short amount of time. Like, PUBG was one of the most played and streamed games on Twitch, and one of the most talked about games, period, when it came to online gaming for like the past year. Within a few months, Fortnite came on, beat their score in almost every single way, and I think as of this week they've beat their gross revenue as well, which is insane when you're just an upstart, essentially. And like Matrix is saying, it's come up as not only a game that you can play on the Xbox or the PS4 or your I think you can play it on Mac or your Windows computer.
I'm gonna check right now.
You can now play it on your iPhone, as long as you have a supporting version, and then they're working on an Android version of the app as well.
Oh shoot, there you can play it on Mac. Interesting. You don't see much games that's allowed to play on Mac.
Exactly. And here's the crazy thing about it. For the most part, it's completely cross-play compatible.
With mobile as well?
Yeah. So you can play... So here's the funny thing. Sony's a little stupid with their restrictions on like cross-platforming. So you can play... If you play with PS4 or your friends play with PS4, you can play PS4, Windows, Mac, and smartphone. You can play with all those together on the same team. If you're Xbox, then you're gonna have to go Xbox, Windows, Mac, smartphone. Xbox and PS4 cannot talk to one another because of Sony. Xbox wants there to be like cross-play between both platforms.
Sony.
But
oh, were you gonna speak?
No, go on.
Oh, I was basically gonna say, like, I've seen the hype for Fortnite. I've seen the one for mobile as well. I've seen, was it the game? No, it wasn't the gameplay for Fortnite that I saw. I think it was the gameplay for Pub. The gameplay for Pub for mobile is pretty good. I haven't seen the one for Fortnite as yet. I'll have to check it out. Where you can play with people. Oh.
Yeah, so that's another thing. PUBG started off in beta. It's still in beta. And surprise, surprise, they decided to release the game with a bunch of glitches and bugs, and like the people have just kind of been going through it, like just accepting it, playing it, so on and so forth. Here's a key thing. It's so bad that you can actually have a tactical advantage by turning down your graphics. Because if you want to, you can lie down in a field of grass, and then someone else who you're trying to snipe, they just turn down their graphics, and they can see you through the grass.
That's a cheat, essentially. Oh man, that's really a cheat.
So And then there's other bugs of like people glitching around and people hacking the game. Like quite literally, I saw a video just this week of someone hacking a car, or actually more of a van. The van is literally flying through the air, rolling people over. Then stops and like makes it look like it crashed and like stopped and everything like that. So the other person is like walking over to try and trying to heal their teammate as they're actually about to finish healing. The car starts back up and kills both of them.
This game's always on some serious glitching issues. I haven't seen those ones, but that might have been what this person that I follow on Twitter was speaking about, because that's why I saw the gameplay for it for the mobile device, because he posted it up and I was like, wow, I was like, this looks pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to actually look like that. And then like when he did like a screen recording of it, and he's like, oh, it's pretty good until like the end. So I scrolled to the end to see what happened, and just like the server just like totally disconnect and everything now. But now that you're saying that there's a lot of glitches in regards to the mobile game, it makes sense.
Well, yeah, the mobile game has a lot of glitches as well. So I think I read that what they're doing essentially is when you first start the game, and here's something that's a little kind of cheaty, but I kind of get why they do it. From what it seems like, there are these players in red shirts that are actually bots for your first few games to make you feel like you're actually winning these games. And so you actually get used to the controls and everything like that. And then they slowly start weaning you out of them. And then like as you keep playing, then more real players come in and so on and so forth. But yeah, I was talking about the PC version of it. Like legit, if you go inside of a car, there was a time when you went inside of a car, you got out of the car, it would say you died because a car hit you. This time the car is like parked and everything like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But you said that the game has been around for a while, correct?
Yeah.
So why is it having these glitches and it's been around for a while?
Exactly. That's what's got people so frustrated with PUBG.
Like, they had its time to essentially fine-tune the game. Might also be a reason why Fortnite came and kind of like swooped everybody away. Fortnite came. I'm not a fan of Fortnite. I've heard about it. I've never played it, but like it came about, and it seems as though it's doing everything that PUBG is doing, but correctly. So a lot of people is interested in it. And like you just said, like, the numbers decreased a lot since Fortnite came out.
I wouldn't say it's done everything correctly, but it has done a lot correctly when it comes to development. There is pretty much no real bug in Fortnite. Yes, there are people that are hacking it, which is kind of funny because they threw out an anti-cheating code thing on it, and then had to roll it back because people's computers were starting to brick up and stuff like that. So they're still hacking on Fortnite as well, but the actual gameplay, I've played hours and I've never had a bug. I've never had an issue. And I know many people are exactly the same way. That, and they just do some really stupid stuff. Okay, granted, PUBG allows you to kill people with a frying pan. But Fortnite allows you to ride a rocket and shoot people at the same time.
That's the video that you showed me on Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. I won't lie.
So both of them have their ups and downs. And then, of course, the mobile versions. PUBG has had theirs out for a while now in China. And it's slowly being rolled out to the other parts of the world. Like, I think they rolled it out to Canada earlier this week. And they rolled out 2 different versions of the same game. One that's based on pretty much driving, you going on a boat and on the plane, And then the other one, which is what people more similar are associated with, like running around doing a battle royale, shooting people, which is the one that they're using bots more than likely on with these red shirts. Whereas Fortnite, you just get into the game. It's almost exactly like how it is on PC. There's one version of it, and yeah. Now I think with Fortnite you can only play with people on mobile. Actually, no. What am I talking about? That's PUBG. PUBG you can only play with people on mobile. You cannot play with people on any other console. So that's the next thing. Fortnite quite literally is making this whole thing and debate come about for cross-platform, which is awesome because it's been something that's been needed for ages. So
is this a touchy subject for you because you were a PC gamer and games would come out on console and you have to wait forever to get them on PC?
I mean, okay, I'll admit, yes, it's a slight pet peeve of mine, especially with what happened with Destiny 2 and it coming out like almost 4 months after PS4 came. But I'm not bitter or anything. Oh, okay. My dumb question. Cross-platform from mobile to PC is not fair. Mobile players will rage once they run into a PC player. Yes and no. Because here's the thing. There are already memes about it, but you can connect up to different peripherals like a keyboard or mouse. More than likely, you won't find people doing that. But they've made the controls for the mobile version intuitive enough so you can actually still enjoy the game while playing against a computer or console-based person. And I mean, let's admit it, console versus PC, typically the PC person has a better chance of winning regardless because it has more control over like how you deal with the mouse versus aim assist or something like that on PS4 or Xbox. So that's what a lot of people were hoping Destiny 2 would show off, but then like that didn't work out. So now it's Fortnite, and so we're kind of wondering like how that's gonna work. So, and yeah, then that's the next thing. Mobile players have to opt into it. Then if they don't, they can stay with mobile. But if they want to play with their friends and they don't have their computer or console around, or they don't have them, period, then they can still manage to play with their friends. Granted, I would think they would have to have a pretty good phone to be able to manage and keep up.
Mm-hmm. But, when I saw the Fortnite was coming to mobile, my mind automatically went on the Razer phone. I won't lie.
You know, you're right. And it's kind of funny. Razer actually signed up with an esports team that only plays on mobile devices. I think it was like either last week or this week. So, yeah. You never know. Like, esports, this is kind of touching into my other show, but esports is changing. It's becoming more mobile. The Nintendo, like with Super Smash Brothers and all these indie games coming out, the Nintendo Switch is going to become more popular for esports. We've got games that are doing this whole cross-platform thing that, you know, it is going to start raising the debate, and people are going to start putting more pressure, I think, on Sony to allow for cross-platform to actually become a thing, so people can actually play on Xbox, PC, and Sony, well, PS4 without an issue.
Sony pulling Apple around now. They ain't interested in sharing.
Pretty much. That's what they seem to have been doing. It's been a continuous feud between them and Xbox for years. I mean, look at the exclusives that they've been doing. Like, it's just now like PS4's got the majority share, like the lion's share of the market when it comes to consoles now. So
I always felt like the whole rivalry thing is a gimmick. That's how I still feel. I do feel like it's a gimmick to get people hyped up, to like get that crowd hyped up. And it's gonna be like, oh no, I'm Sony, you're Xbox, this blah blah blah, and it's gonna cost them to therefore spend more money. But in all honesty, it just depends on your preference, where your friends play. I know a lot of people would purchase a console depending on where their friends play because they want to play with their friends, and the exclusives for that console.
pretty much, and that's exactly it. That's what people are doing. I mean, look at me. I ended up buying a PS4 just to play with my friends who are playing on a PS4 because I don't know anyone that plays on an Xbox.
I'm not suckering into that scheme.
But it would be nice.
For it to be cross-platform, it would be.
Yeah. Now I get it if there's like a developer that only builds on one platform.
Then yeah, like Mario, I don't really want Mario and anything else but Nintendo. But that's just me. So like, I don't mind Mario staying with Nintendo because Mario's kind of basically like their head. So that's just me. So Mario could stay. That way it would therefore push small persons to purchase Nintendo because if they lose Mario, then their sales will kind of drop, essentially. Because a lot of people purchase Nintendo products simply to play Mario.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Mario could stay. Everybody else, they could cross-platform. I have no issues with that.
This time we're gonna have Pikachu on the PS4.
like some things would look so odd. Like you know how they're already making games creepy realistic. You can imagine like those cute little like rated E type games because Mario those are like really kid friendly. Like my nephew's obsessed with Mario. Well, he was. I feel like he moved on to Minecraft and Roblox now. But he was obsessed with Mario, and you can imagine that on dealing with like Sony graphics or like Xbox graphics. It's gonna look, in my opinion, it's gonna look creepy. I know like a lot of people hyped over for how they're making games look more realistic now, but for me, it's kind of creepy, and I don't really want my games to look like that. I had no issues with how the games looked back then, when it just like HD quality. Now it's like super ultra HD quality where you could see like every pore inside the persons for the game and inside the characters for the game. So it looks creepy for me. The persons love it.
I don't know. But okay, Matrix, you're saying Sea of Thieves is crossplay to what? Let me see. Sea of Thieves. Because I don't think
I was actually just about to Google. It is on Xbox and Microsoft Windows.
Well, that's run by the same company.
Yeah, so and the publisher is Microsoft Studios.
So you can jump between any device, continue your journey becoming a pirate legend, whether that's on Xbox, Windows 10.
Is it on PS4?
Doesn't seem so. No. Well, that's Xbox Play Anywhere. Sorry.
Let me take a peek. What's the same? Yeah, I'm reading. Yeah. Yes, I'm reading.
Xbox and PC.
Yeah, because I'm reading an article here where someone asked coming PS4.
Yeah,
and the person said that it's highly unlikely that's going to come on PS4.
Yeah, Matrix is saying that it's a Microsoft exclusive, which I should have remembered. But yeah. So even that, it's still only between one maker. So it's not that hard to really see it happening, especially since quite literally Xbox is running Windows 10. When you really sit down and think about it.
I just don't like. I don't like the controllers. It's too clunky for me.
I'm not even getting into the controller debate as to which controller is better. But to end this off, for me, I honestly really do hope like people start to put pressure on Sony to say allow for more crossplay, because they are being hard asses with it right now.
People could put pressure on it, but people can put pressure on them, but they're still going to be stubborn. They have to decide for themselves if they would like to crossplay. Maybe when everybody else does crossplay and their sales start to drop, because the other person will leave them and go to Xbox or PC or maybe even mobile phone. Well, never mind, mobile don't count. More than so in the ranking. But yeah, maybe like when the sales start dropping because persons are going to the competitors, then they may reconsider cross-platform.
Maybe. If I remember correctly, and this kind of ties in what Matrix just said, Sony was asked about it before, and they said why. There's no reason for us to, so on and so forth. Pretty much demeaning Xbox and saying that they don't have a high user base for it to be worthwhile.
When you start playing with their money, they'll make it worthwhile. Money make companies talk and move.
Yeah, but the fact still is, most games are being made for the PS4 right now when it comes to consoles.
So, maybe if Xbox pick up their step, maybe. Like Xbox black sheep.
They might just be, They might just be. But, yeah. That song's just stuck in your head today.
Yeah, it is. This crowdfunding doesn't financially benefit them.
Yeah, so, well, it doesn't, in a sense, because then people wouldn't feel as obligated to buy a PS4. So then their profits will go down a bit. But, I mean, that's where the whole, we have more games than they do thing kind of comes into play, because then people are still going to end up wanting to get it.
Because they have the, yep.
Exactly.
Because they have, especially if their games are really popular and it's pushed out, their preference to purchase it.
Right.
So I say it has to mess with their money in order for them to actually decide, bite the bullet, and their ego to decide they want to do cross-platform.
Bingo. Exactly. So, I don't know how that's really going to happen. The debate, in my opinion, it really needs to liven up. Because Fortnite is pushing it, and it's great that it is, but it just needs to do more. Like, people actually need to take a voice with it now. There have been articles about it and so on and so forth. People need to start talking about it. Because Sony pretty much does listen, well, they do listen to their fan base. You may not see it, but they do. When their fan base is really crying out about an issue, they do generally put out like a little, either a notice or something like that, or they take it up and say that we're going to work on it, so on and so forth. But PC Master Race has to take over and knock Sony down a few notches. It happened, but on an individual basis. For example, Final Fantasy Online was PlayStation and PC. And yeah, that's pretty much what's happening now. With Fortnite being able to hit pretty much every single market, and with Microsoft quite literally saying, hey, we would love to make this cross-platform, but Sony. It's not giving them a good public image right now.
The PC Master Race is actually going to take over eventually. This new generation, the kids, they're really they play a lot of PC games, so I could see where the PC Master Race will take over. Because nowadays kids are interested. If it ain't Roblox, it's Minecraft. If it ain't those two, they're on YouTube.
Is Minecraft still that popular?
Yes.
Holy crap! I thought it started to die down a little bit.
Nah, it's still popular. Minecraft and Roblox are like the games for this new generation of kids.
Okay, that's a fair method, because Rocket League is on the Nintendo Switch. It's on PC. I think it's on the other consoles as well, but I don't think it's been championed as much right now or talked about as much by the actual console makers until now with Fortnite.
PC Master.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, just the GPU alone is like $500-600 because of people mining cryptocurrencies. So, and then pretty much buying up every friggin' GPU that comes out. Like, I think sites are now limiting it to just one person that can buy, well, one GPU per person. So this is becoming stupid when it comes to stuff like that. But then the same price. I'm not sure about that.
Yep, something Michael just said. It's also because of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, like I mean, when the GPU prices dropped,
anymore, my dude.
Before they went up, then I mean, yeah, it's possible that you can make a fairly good one. I do believe.
I was agreeing with the guy. He said that crypto isn't going anywhere. It's going to die.
Again, I have no idea if it's gonna die or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in the 50-50. Like as long as Bitcoin has been around and like it just like blossom all of a sudden this year, and it still hasn't 100% died on because I'm still getting those stupid cryptocurrency ads, I have to 50-50.
Yeah.
Like they're really pushing it.
And the fact is that there are still more tokens being, like more cryptocurrencies being made by the day. So, okay, you made 3 gaming PCs in the last year for $500.
$500?
Okay, so this PS4 I got was about $400, and that's running fairly well. I'm not sure you can actually buy or build a computer as of like from the past half a year that can rival a console right now just on price alone. If price isn't a limit, then by golly gee, you know, you can blow a console out of the water 5 times, but you have to have the money for it. You say solid performance. What frame rate? What resolution? Those things count. So while my PS4 can't run 4K, it can run 120 frames per second. Well, 1080p at like
I've never heard somebody say like 180. I always have like I automatically say 1080. Like I never heard somebody say
I don't know.
1080p.
1080p, 1080p. I typically hear more 1080p.
Yeah, I usually say 1080.
Well, I prefer to put on the P because then there's a 1080i, which is slightly worse than 1080p, but that's running into honestly, I don't know. At that point, I'm pretty sure you'd have to have a PS4 Pro, which I didn't opt in for.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you got the PS4 Pro.
No, I got the PS4 still. My laptop, on the other hand, can handle 120 frames per second, but I paid more than $500 for that. So that's the difference as well. Like, I can upscale, go put this thing on 4K as well, but I'm going to be getting like 30 frames per second. I put it back on 1080 or 1080, I'm getting 120 frames. But then there's the whole thing, how many games are 120 frames per second unless they're actually built for that kind of thing? For the most part, cap off at 60.
GPU.
A better GPU makes a world of a difference, and also it has more memory. Remember, I'm talking about PS4 Slim, which I mean typically has roughly the same stuff as the regular PS4. But...
PS4? I always felt like they replaced the standard PS4.
I mean, still there.
But still good with those? Or did people just jump straight to the Slim?
I think people are going more for the Slim just because of form factor, and then PS4 Pro for like the 4K stuff.
Discipline.
Yeah. But it's still not real 4K anyway, so it's kind of like meh.
I still feel as though 4K is trash, but that's just me because HD hurt my eyes, so I don't see the reason for 4K. But
so you can see the pores in everyone's skin and all the lines and see their age.
And that's also creepy for me. I don't know if
see the
anybody
cake up makeup.
I don't know if anybody else finds that creepy, but it's creepy for me. See, someone else will understand.
I mean, I completely agree with that.
Like, it's a nice gesture, but do I really need that 24 hours of a day? Pretty sure no. I'm pretty sure that has a serious effect on your eyes.
Your eyes cap out at a certain frames per second regardless. So
see?
I mean, some people's eyes, they say they can see the difference. Like, more so than the average person, which is quite possible. But it's going to be the rare person in the bunch. But, yeah. I think that pretty much covers what we want to talk about tonight.
Today? I think so as well.
Yeah. So...
I'm ready for iOS 12. Ready to see what they're going to do.
Bug.
I'm hoping they better
find
tune everything.
Bugs or something. There's going to be like at least 5 bugs.
They better fine tune everything because tvOS was trash last year because I updated and one of my stock apps went missing. I don't understand how you can lose a stock app when you update. And because it should already be built into the code. So like where is it going? Computers, I had an issue with my iTunes keys stopped working. Phone was just like a total, I don't know, phone was just total trash. So they better fix everything this go around.
So many issues last year. So many issues. It was glorious.
It was kind of funny. It was funny, I must admit. Especially the one with that it was replacing the I with like the square and question mark one. The memes for that was hilarious.
Let's also hope that another Indian character doesn't like start screwing up with stuff with iOS 12.
I think they patched that. Shortly after.
They did.
Yeah, but shortly after they patched it.
That's not the first time a Hindu character a Hindi character has caused an issue with iPhones. And that is kind of weird. Yeah, they lost their mail app. What happened? They updated. That's actually...
See? It was only when I was tripping out.
That is weird.
See? It was only when I was tripping out. I don't understand how like you can an app that's already written into the software code. But that should be concrete. Where did it go when I updated?
It should be. Let me guess, you had to
I had to restore my Apple TV in order. Yep. I was like, thank God I don't have nothing much on it, but I had to restore it in order for it to get the app back.
That sucks. But yeah, so that's it for tonight's episode of Tech Talk. I'd like to thank my guest Vicquell for coming on. Wow, why do I keep calling you guest when you're my co-host?
It's a force to have it.
It is a force of habit, more than likely. I'd also like to thank Matrix Blue for joining inside the conversation tonight, as well as My Dumb Question, and Mally Boy Ray, as well as Matt Lol Guy for letting me know that my mic was having issues. Wow, by Vicky. Not like I'm supposed to be the host of this show. Like,
for a second, I thought you called him Matt Lolly Guy. Oh man.
Oh no!
Oh man! No. I thought it's what you called that. I had to scroll up to look at his name.
No. Oh my gosh, that would be horrible as a username.
Oh man.
Matt Lolly Guy. No, Matt Lol Guy. Like League of Legends, LOL. Before we have any other like random situations that kind of happen, we're gonna close off for tonight. Again, thanks to everyone. We'll be back next week, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll more than likely be on as well throughout the week, playing some games if you guys are interested in that. More than likely some newer games that may or may not be released, or that have been released within a short period of time, and you know, that way you guys can actually see what the game's about and get an idea for it. So until next time, take care.
Hey.